Sometimes in life, someone crosses your path and the connection is instant.
So it was with two kindergartners at the Kennebunkport Consolidated School on their very first day of school. 207's Peggy Kaiser is here now with the story. Peg?
Well, Rob and Sam, those kindergartners are now ready to graduate from high school. Through thick and thin and a pandemic, they have remained devoted to each other.
And right there.
There is an ease about Emily Rossics and Marston Poore. As they sit together in the sun, as they have done so many times before, they fit together like two puzzle pieces.
That was with Miss Smilo. Absolutely lovely.
Emily and Marston met in the very first minutes of kindergarten 12 years ago.
Holding hands. I mean, Miss Smilo's classroom, I sat on the purple square in the back. There was another kid in the purple square in the back.
That other kid was Marston Poore, and they instantly hit it off.
Maybe it was the fact that he was the other kid sitting in the purple square. He just seemed fun to play with.
First couple weeks of kindergarten, she'd come home and just tell me about Marston all the time. Every day she'd have, a different story about Marston, how much fun she had with him. And, one time she said, he took off his shoes and we laughed and we laughed. And, she's just telling these different stories.
Emily couldn't stop talking about her new friend Marston. When Emily's mom met Marston's mom early that school year, she was surprised to learn a bit more about their friendship.
I very, very vividly remember meeting Nicole at the pancake breakfast. And she came up to me and said, oh my gosh, are you Marston's mom? And I said, yes, I am. And she said, oh my gosh, Emily cannot stop talking about her friend Marston. And I said, oh, that's so nice. It's been so nice that, Emily is like, seeing past his disability and taking him in as a friend. And she said, I didn't know he had a disability. And I said, oh yeah, he has autism. And so that was news to Nicole.
Marston has autism, and while he can communicate, it takes a little familiarity to understand what he is saying. Emily and Marston managed to communicate in a way that went beyond words.
I think it's super cool to kind of be able to see the world through like somebody else's eyes. And I definitely remember that in like elementary school. There was like one time I like brought my water bottle out to the playground and I was like pouring it down the slide because he just like to like watch it. I feel like a lot of people don't really like notice those things, like how water going down a slide really is cool. But once you kind of are able to see that through like a different lens, through somebody else's perspective, it's really cool.
Kathy Smilo was their teacher and remembers watching these two friends.
Emily was very bubbly and vivacious and excited about learning and about social situations. And Marston was a little more quiet and clearly observant and drawn to her because of her energy, I think. They learned how to engage with each other, mostly in nonverbal ways initially. And she would scoot closer to him and he would vocalize a little bit of uneasiness and she would scoot back. When I say it was magical, it truly was.
Right off the bat, Jen advocated for Marston to be mainstreamed and placed in a typical classroom. She offered to come into kindergarten and talk with the students, prepare them a bit about what autism is. But Mrs. Smilo had another approach.
She said, I have a different idea. I think we should just treat him like everybody else and see where we go from there. And that's what we did. And that's why somebody on the other purple square, like Emily, just didn't see any difference in Marston and just began to interact with him right away.
As Emily and Marston progressed through school, their friendship only deepened. They were constant companions, sharing events like Marston's annual participation in the Special Olympics.
Getting to watch him do that and like the level of excitement that's there that day is so fun.
Marston's family has always operated with the idea of presumed potential, which is why Jen advocated so strongly to have him in classes with his typical peers.
If you presume competence, you have to sort of be brave out there in the world with a special needs individual and just sort of say, all right, we're going to try this and see how it goes. And so that's our philosophy as a family.
Happy birthday to you.
It was freshman year, the year before the pandemic set in, when Emily invited Marston to the homecoming dance.
Marston and like a couple of our friends went out to like dinner beforehand, and then we took pictures at the beach and then went to the dance all together, and it was just like super fun.
Because he was mainstreamed with typical children, you know, it made it so we could go out into the world and do more typical things. You know, we go to church, we go to restaurants, we dare to take him certain places, and other kids that have been more secluded in just special ed classrooms only, I think, don't they don't fare so well, I think, out in the typical world. It's been a gift.
Emily's friendship, so simple on its face, has had a lifetime of an impact on Marston and his family.
She included him, you know. What more do you want from anything, to have your kid be part of life, you know, and included. You know, Emily has such an effortlessness about her, you know, and nothing fazed her. Meeting Emily changed Marston's entire life, changed our whole family's life. I mean, that's the amazing part about the whole thing, and the magic of it.
Now, Jen said to me, extraordinary people need to be celebrated, and Emily is magic. Emily and Marston are finishing up their senior year at Kennebunk High, and they will graduate on June 5th.
Peg, you should have warned me. I feel like I needed tissues for that one. That was so sweet, and there's just something so special about friendship anyway, but I feel like when you can find your person and you kind of grow up together, that is so special, and I don't see their friendship ending anytime soon.
No, we talked about that. Emily is going off to school, but she's not going too far away, and thanks to technology, they can FaceTime and be in close contact, and I don't see that friendship ending either, ever.